Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video. So we've done JMA Friday, which is taking us through the month. It takes us into sort of the second week of January. And the JMA and CFS V2 models today are really sort of ramping up Westerly signals, starting from sort of next week, Christmas, and then running through into the new year. So you can find the video here on the home page. Just scroll down the page a little bit. It's above the Stow desk. And this video is going to just have a quick look at the next 7 to 10 days, because Christmas Day now is within the 10-day time frame. So I'm going to talk you through the latest midday runs of the GFS and the GM, the Canadian model. The ECMWF hasn't updated yet, so it'll be from the midnight run of the ECMWF. It'll just be updated. I'm recording a video around 6 o'clock. It'll just be started to update now, but we have run out of time to be able to bring you back to one. So, but the GFS and the GEM, they are from the midday run, just updated. So I took you through that in a second. Won't talk about anything else in this second video, other than to say that Christmas Shop is still open. So if you've got any Christmas Shop to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, just click the green button that says Gas Christmas Shop. It takes you through to our Christmas Shop page, and then from there, key to it all is to go through the Amazon banners, do Christmas shopping, and Christmas Shop for gas service to Amazon. We get a review fee on things that you are buying. Still got time to get Christmas presents to you. So Christmas Day is 10 days away now, within the 10-day time frame of the computer models. They're very quick postage at Amazon, so you still got time, but don't leave it much longer. So this is how the very latest run of the GFS is looking for Tuesdays. We're going to start off with all of tonight's models, 96 hours away, Tuesday 19th of December. And we've been talking about this for a long time. We've had a cold first half to December, but the weather is changing next week. You'll start to notice it turns a little bit milder on Sunday, but the real mild push is actually coming up through the early part of next week. So these are how things are looking on Tuesday, with high pressure, instead of being centred to our northwest, the high pressure is centred to our south and southwest. So the centre of it is across France, and we've got low pressure to the northwest now, around Greenland, Iceland, and we're bringing in the flow in from off the Atlantic. So it's mainly dry, actually, this, but it is a lot milder. The one problem might be fog patches night and morning. Because of the time of year, they could linger, I suppose, into the day. If that happens, it won't be as mild as it could be. Excuse me, but technically, temperatures here could go up to around 10, 11 degrees through the early part of next week. That's how things look for Wednesday. Very little change there either. This is a big area of high pressure to our south, 1,040 millibars. You may well get some problems with your television receptions with that one, actually, through the course of next week. That's a very big area of high pressure. But by Thursday, that high pressure just starting to inch out to our southwest a little bit, and beginning to turn the flow a little bit more northwesterly. So this takes us to Friday, 22nd of December, a week away. And we've been seeing this within the model output, that we've got a real uncertainty about the end of next week, because we have got these cold northerly winds extending down just to our east. And some model runs have been placing us under that cold northerly, but it does look increasingly as though this cold northerly flow is actually going to miss us, more or less anyway, and slip down the North Sea and into sort of the Low Countries, Germany, Denmark, that sort of area. It will take a very slight push further west, though, with this area of high pressure to place us under this northerly. So it's a very, very close run thing. And it's certainly going to feel a bit cooler, I think, through the second half of next week. It may actually be a little bit cold for northern and eastern parts of Scotland in the second half of next week. Beyond that, though, it looks like the Atlantic is starting to power up. So we're running up towards Christmas now. This is Christmas Eve, and we're returning to a flat sort of westerly type pattern. And then we go up to Christmas Day, which is day 10, and we find that the Atlantic is really starting to power up now. Look at this. Got the purple colours appearing around Greenland and Iceland. That's the polar vortex beginning to wind itself up. That's always an ominous sign. When you see those purple colours around Greenland, it can often be an indication that you're going to be in for a bit of a stormy spell. Now, actually, this isn't particularly stormy, this chart, for Christmas Day. But it is turning increasingly windy, wet, and it's also mild. Temperatures would be into double figures. And I can tell you that that actually continues beyond the Christmas period. This takes up to 27th of December, when again we've got the polar vortex really powering up around Greenland and Iceland. We're beginning to get deep areas of low pressure starting to push in, bring gale force winds potentially, and bouts of heavy rain as well. The one compensating factor, if you want it, is that it's mild because the flow is coming in from off the Atlantic. And how long this goes on for, of course, is quite uncertain. But when zonality sets in, it can be in for some time. This takes us to New Year's Eve, as far as we can go with tonight's midday run of the GFS. And you see that we are still broadly in this Atlantic type driven pattern, albeit we're trying to get the flow back to a northwest-southeast sort of trajectory. It may be going a bit over the top with this zonal signal around Christmas, but the GFS tonight certainly has shifted in that sort of direction, or at least the operational run has. This is the GEM, the Canadian model, again starting on Tuesday, high pressure to our south, low pressure out to the north and to the west. We go through to the end of next week, and again you see that northerly really slipping to our east by Friday, going down into Scandinavia, Denmark, northern parts of Germany. We remain on the mild side of this ridge of high pressure. It's a big ridge of high pressure again that's sitting just to our south. It is trying to push northwards. You can see that within the elongation in the isobars. This high pressure is trying to go northwards. You can see that from that area just there. But the low pressure to the south and west of Greenland is preventing that from happening, and the jet stream is also running through in this sort of zone. Jet stream going through there, and again that's preventing this high pressure from being able to push up towards Greenland and Iceland. It does want to do that, but it just can't quite manage it. We go through to Christmas then, and this takes us to Christmas Eve. Yes, we've got the Westerlies beginning to return again. That's how we finish up on day 10 with the GEM, and of course Christmas Day, and firmly back into a proper flat westerly pattern then. It isn't going quite as extreme with the polar vortex around Greenland and Iceland as we see with the GFS, but it's a similar type setup really. High pressure is down close to Spain and Portugal, low pressure is around Greenland and Iceland, and there come the westerly winds. If we could go on a few more days, which we can't, but if we could, we would probably keep those westerlies going through the Christmas week, running up towards New Year. And then finally the ECMWF. Now this is just the midnight run of the ECMWF. I haven't got time to wait for it to update for the midday ECMWF. But this is how it was looking this morning. High pressure, again, dominating for the early part of the week, and mild, bringing the air up from the southwest. So proper mild push of air through the course of next week. We go through to the second half of next week, and again that high pressure is trying to reach northwards, but it's not able to, and so the cold northerly wind is missing us and going down into Scandinavia and Denmark at the end of next week. And then we go up towards Christmas, and this is how it looks for Christmas Eve. So we start to pull that high pressure out to the southwest. We begin to get low pressure developing to the south of Greenland, and then that's how it looks for Christmas Day. Again, very much back to that flat westerly flow. So we've got the high pressure around the Azores and ridging through to Spain and Portugal. We've got low pressure deepening around Greenland and Iceland. In between the two, we're powering up the jet stream. That happens because of the temperature contrast. Got very, very cold air up here. Well, that's a little bit wrong. So we've got very, let's change the colour as well. So we've got very, very cold air around there, and then we've got warm air, of course, down here through the tropical part of the Atlantic. The temperature contrast between the two is through here, and that powers up jet stream and brings those westerly winds into the UK. Now, the only caveat on that with this, so we have got good agreement between those three models that the westerlies are powering up Christmas. The only caveat we have, and the only straw to cling to if you want a cold Christmas, is that there is still a lot of scatter, a big split between the GFS ensembles. So this is our mild high pressure period coming up through the early part and the middle part of next week. Perfect agreement on that. These are the dates, so around the 21st, 22nd, 23rd December. That's the interesting point, because you'll notice at that point we have a large split. So we have several members of the ensembles that are down here, that are cold for this period going up towards Christmas. Several members up here, including the operational run, which I just showed you, which you see by this thick green line. Several ensemble members that are mild. Between the mildest and coldest ensemble members, there is something like, so that's the mildest member just there, that's the coldest member. So there's nearly a 20-degree temperature differential around the 22nd, 23rd, 24th of December between the mildest and coldest ensemble members. And so we can see that obviously it's not totally out of the question that we might have a cold Christmas. Isn't totally off the table, but we've got the GFS operational, we've got the GEM operational, and we've got the ECNWF operational, albeit that's a midnight run, all seemingly in agreement that we're going to have a very mild and dry start to next week, and then we get to Christmas, and we start to power up the Westerlies. So I think that's got to be the favoured option for Christmas at the moment, that we're going to start to increase the zonal Westerlies and possibly even go into a stormier spell of weather after. Because I don't think Christmas itself is going to be stormy. That's the period where we begin to power up the Atlantic, begin to rev it up a little bit, but it could well be that between Christmas and New Year, so sort of 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th December, we might go into a bit of a stormier spell if these models are correct and the polar vortex is going to sink in sort of Canada and Greenland. So not good news if you want cold weather for Christmas. The only crumb of comfort is that the GFS ensembles are split, and you can see quite clearly there are still several ensemble members that are cold just before Christmas. So I'd rate it about a 20% chance, perhaps, that we might get, might just pull off a cold Christmas here, but it doesn't look all that good tonight. Right, that's it. Weekend forecast coming up tomorrow. Also, we will have tomorrow the 22nd Christmas update. Maybe a little bit grim if you want a cold Christmas, but 22nd Christmas update will be with you tomorrow. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.